Community. One aspect of the internet that I find rewarding is the ability to associate with people of like interests in a way that geographically limited real-world relationships make impossible. Of course, the internet also provides anonymity, which limits the consequence of people's behavior, and I have found people reveal much more of their uncouth preferences online, which, as we all know, is necessary for truly excellent relationships. Now, I'm not some radical pro-honesty person, right, which is becoming increasingly in vogue. I depend on lies when talking to most people in my direct personal relationships, right? Because if I tell them the views I have laid out in this book, it will cause headaches that I don't want so close to home. And the few people I would convince wouldn't be worth it. But of course, when I'm speaking to the great masses over the internet, I'm going to let it all out because I have less to lose and because it's going to affect me less directly, at least for now. When association is limited, you are forced to put up with and occasionally break bread with people you don't want to be around or talk to. In a more prosperous economy, as would occur on a free market, you could give up more resources and move to people who you get along better with. And this occurs today with people moving from big cities to the country and vice versa, but I suspect on a free market this would occur much more specifically. I would expect there would be more things like the Free State Project, which is a group of libertarians moving to an area in an attempt to agitate for a less intrusive state. Now, because the state limits material well-being and makes moving and buying anything more difficult, like the web of difficulty, it causes less emergent communities than would occur on a free market because people can't move as easily. They are less mobile. And let's not ignore the forced association hellholes that are the state education camps. And the insane things that go on in the camps are not noticed as being insane because everyone believes in the fantasy. And early in the year, like illustration of this, early in the year, students are very talkative, walking all over the place and are generally more energetic and cheerful. But as the year wears on, the behavior paths become well worn and the psychic walls are built up. They're becoming connected into the fantasy of the state education camp. When two kids get in a fight, the first question one should ask is, why are these two people, who clearly hate each other, being forced into such close proximity? It is a testament to the resilience of people that conflicts within the same classroom eventually get resolved, and that the class can continue to function. Whereas on a free market, if they would move away from each other to the extent that they had the mobility to do so. They would be much more likely to move away from each other, especially if it came to a fist fight. Now, this book is about the state. I bring up moral nihilism because I've seen people try to make moral arguments against statists, and then the statists can just bring up the people dying from a lack of medical services and equate that with killing, appealing to a utilitarian morality. Economic arguments are the only way to consistently convince people, and people who are heavy on morality tend not to remain anti-statists very long. And so I'm not saying the state is the only thing preventing emergent relationships, belief in the sacrosanctity of the family, or people you've known for a long time, causes one to put up with shit they wouldn't put up with if they acted rationally. Belief in the Bible reinforces this and leads people to associate with fellow churchgoers who they wouldn't otherwise have associated with. But I am saying that less emergent community is one of the prices of statism. That said, social life outside of the church is so broken that a case could be made that the church does more good in giving people a social life than the harm it does in making people believe in God. And this belief in God, as most hold it, is not terribly harmful. Most people don't read the Bible and so think this God wants them to do good things. And these non-denominational churches vacillate on homosexuality and premarital sex. It's such an obvious falsehood that I like to look at how the church is similar to the state And I know it's in vogue nowadays to attack the church beyond its effects, but for falsehood itself. But this is the sentiment of men who lack greater goals. The modern church is increasingly liberal and is not my first target, and it may not ever even be a target at all.